Hello, you are welcome to meeting Baku Network expert group. Experts discuss about result of the war between Azerbaijan and Armenian military forces in Nagorno-Karabakh. What do you think it's the result for us?
First of all, just wanted to touch upon the overall development since April 2nd that we are witnessing. It's obvious that starting from the 2nd of April, Armenian armed forces over the entire contact line of Armenian and Azerbaijani defense forces started intensive attack of Azerbaijani civilian population, and knowing that in the vicinity of the contact line area, Azerbaijani civilian population are densely living. And within that process, Armenian armed forces used artillery and other heavy weapons, and also they targeted defense positions of Azerbaijani armed forces. In a manner of providing and guaranteeing the security of Azerbaijani civilian population, Azerbaijani armed forces was obliged to take countermeasures, and in this context, they have liberated occupied strategic heights that are strategically used by Armenian armed forces, particularly to target the civilian population of Azerbaijan living in the contact line area. And as a result of such military provocation of Armenia, and 6 civilians were killed from Azerbaijani side, and 20 more have been seriously injured. And also, as a result of such kind of military provocations of Armenia, serious damage has been also inflicted to public and private property. And in a goodwill manner, Azerbaijani armed forces declared unilateral truce on 3rd of April. But Armenian armed forces and political military leadership of Armenia didn't heed to such a positive call of Azerbaijan, and they continued their military actions, and the process continued until the 5th of April. And since 5th of April, 1200, as a result of meeting of Armenian and Azerbaijani chief of staff, the decision was taken to guarantee the ceasefire. But unfortunately, still the provocations of Armenia continues, and the situation relatively stable, but still it is tense.
Okay. What
was important for the world, for the international community to know that the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh is not frozen. As the Azerbaijani political leadership has stated numerously, the conflict is live and it can flare up any moment. And the last skirmish, the last processes in the front line once more proved this statement by the Azerbaijani government. And I think that it drew attention to the conflict, and it was a call to the international community that you should get involved in the resolution of this conflict, which is very dangerous, which is not dangerous for the region, but is dangerous, well, not for 2 countries, but is dangerous for the world as well, as it involves the world powers as well. So we immediately saw and heard statements from strong powers. Russia made its statement, and next was the US who made the statement about the conflict, which in fact showed that very powerful countries, the world powers, are involved, and it showed they are interested in the resolution of the conflict.
Long time, our head president of Azerbaijan, Elkhan Aliyev, told about its need take new push to negotiations process. For what situation now about?
Exactly. Azerbaijani side on numerous occasions declared its position that illegal presence of Armenian armed forces is a major source of threat to the regional peace and security. It undermines a wider structure of regional peace, and therefore the first action should be from the side of the international community to demand, in accordance with the resolutions of the United Nations Security Council, complete, unconditional, and full withdrawal of Armenian armed forces from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan. And still, presence of such kind of armed forces of Armenia in the occupied territories of Azerbaijan continues to pose a threat. And we have witnessed once again, starting from the 2nd of April, that such kind of presence could cause further escalation of the situation on the contact line area. Therefore, I agree completely with the view of my friend and colleague that the conflict conflict can in no way be considered frozen. Azerbaijan was always against the using of such kind of metaphor, saying that this conflict is frozen. No, this conflict is alive, and recent skirmishes and escalation of the situation once again demonstrated that its repercussions can go beyond the regional security structure. And therefore, Azerbaijan, after the ceasefire arrangement, once again declared that we are ready and more than ready, because Azerbaijan is the most interested party for the soonest resolution of the conflict, because Azerbaijan was subject to occupation and aggression, and million more Azerbaijani civilians were ethnically cleansed from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan. Therefore, we are ready to start a comprehensive and result-oriented political process towards the resolution of the conflict. But unfortunately, we don't see still such kind of reaction from Armenian side. As an international community's position should also be highlighted that during the height of this culmination of this military phase or military actions, international community once again reiterated its position that sides, that's Armenia and Azerbaijan, should come to a negotiation table towards the resolution of the conflict. Simply, Azerbaijan stands ready based on the current arrangements and based on the current proposals that we have within the OSCE Minsk group process to discuss and to start the comprehensive process. But unfortunately, Armenian side by all means obstructs the process, and the recent visit of Armenian president to occupied territories of Azerbaijan and his bellicose statement from occupied territories of Azerbaijan is once again demonstrates that Armenia continues its war-mongering rhetoric once again.
Yes, one more time he broke international law and flight in the Nagorno-Karabakh, like official visit and something like this. Yeah.
And now it is high time to show a different approach to conflict resolution process. So I think you will highlight on the passé statement which was made yesterday. So I think the international organizations are also trying to become more active in this process, and the last statements once more showed that. But still, we need to distinguish between the aggressor and between the country which has been subjected to aggression, and this should be the major milestone, and this should be the major store in the process, and that can actually move the process, move the negotiations forward, because as you see, it is impossible to force and to make Armenia to sit at the table of talks and to make it to accept the conceptual and more acceptable option for the conflict. And on the next side, so the world understands that Azerbaijan's position is right. They should simply support what the international law dictates, what the international law specifies for such conflicts, and that will facilitate the process as well.
Yeah. But after a couple of days, we have a big event in Baku. This Global Forum of Alliance Civilization, which organized United Nations and Azerbaijani Ministry of Culture. What do you think about this one?
From April 25 to 27, Baku will host one of the significant events, the UN Alliance of Civilization, the 7th Global Forum, aiming to explore new ways of promoting cross-cultural dialogue and understanding, as well as spark to new partnership and commitments. The UN Forum is one of the largest forums in the world, which is usually attended by many heads of states, international ministries, and which discuss important issues. The forum, or the Baku Forum, in turn will discuss such important issues as global migration, the role of youth, as well as the role of sport, education, and religion. Moreover, it will also discuss the fight against extremism and terrorism. As for the few years, the world witnessed a rise in religious intolerance and violent extremism.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's a very important topic, really, raising intolerance at the international level. On that particular issue, Mr. Chairman, you also rightly mentioned about the United Nations Alliance of Civilization that Azerbaijan is going to host in Baku. Here is, with our previous subject and with this subject, we can make a really real difference between Armenia and Azerbaijan. what Armenia brings to the region and what Azerbaijan brings to the region. Azerbaijan brings to the region regional cooperation, development, prosperity, understanding, and cooperation at the wider level, including dialogue of civilization. And Azerbaijan's contribution goes beyond the regional dimension. It goes to the global fora. And it's also a continuation of the process that we are seeing since the Baku Games. And all of its processes are complementing one another. But what we see in the case of Armenia, it's a war, destruction, and also undermining entire regional security structure. And Baku Alliance of Civilization meeting going to be hosted between 25th and 27th of June is very topical, and they particularly the title of this event, it calls for living in inclusive societies. And we see that at the international level, in many societies, there are certain groups are marginalized. And this marginalization also causes for radicalization. Therefore, Baku Forum is an important process based on the experience of Azerbaijani people, and it's a rich culture of tolerance and understanding to demonstrate that within the inclusive society, you can build the patterns of successful dialogue where different communities, confessions, and religions can live side by side. In a way, it's a contribution to the international process of building bridges of dialogue and civilization. And it's also not about the dialogue. It's a very practical process. And dialogue of UN Alliance of Civilization is also a process that contributes to the goals identified by United Nations, including its new Sustainable Development Goals. In a way, Azerbaijan, by its process of Baku Humanitarian Forum, Baku Games, and including Alliance of Civilization meeting.
Here we wait.
Islamic Solidarity Games, exactly. Yes. Next one is coming, Formula 1. These are the all process, and Baku plays here an important role as a capital, diplomatic capital, brings different people together. And on our last session, we discussed Nizami Ganjavi Forum in Baku here, and also ex-heads of state and governments come together and discuss very topical issues. All of these processes are complementing one another. It's in a way positive contribution of Azerbaijan to the regional and global peace and security. It's time to Armenia to shake its mind and come to join this process in a constructive manner.
What we wait in the Global Forum?
My expectations are very large, and I can't even say so. What is important and what I am expecting from this forum is that it will precede the Youth Forum, which will take place on the 25th of April, which is very, very important. Amina just mentioned about the increasing threats of terrorism, radicalism, and many, many dangerous tendencies throughout the world. But what is very dangerous, and for me what is not acceptable, these dangerous tendencies frequently and in most cases are subjected and are directed to the youth, and bringing the youth from 150 countries from many
collect whole world in Baku.
From many corners of the earth in Baku, and to minimize this hatred, I think this will be a very good platform. So to say that the world should get rid of such very dangerous and unnecessary tendencies. And from this point of view, I think the Baku Forum will be a very strong message to the world, because Baku, as we discussed during our last session, Baku is on the crossroads of East and West. It is in the center of North and South, and this is a very right place so to address to the world and say that peace should dominate throughout the world.
Of course, it's a big responsibility. Azerbaijan take of responsibility to do this world process much better, more better.
And why Azerbaijan?
Yes, why it's important for Azerbaijan, because holding of this forum, which was established to eliminate the tension between West and Islamic world, and why they choose it mainly in Azerbaijan is symbolic, because Azerbaijan promotes ideas of multiculturalism, and as you know, 2016 was declared as the year of multiculturalism in Azerbaijan. Moreover, Azerbaijan is recognized in the world as the country of tolerance, where many religions, cultures, and ethnic nations live together in peace, mutual understanding, and respect. And holding such an event in Baku will demonstrate the growing prestige of Azerbaijan in the world, and Baku will make a contribution to solution of many important global conflicts. Moreover, I want to add something. the hosting of forum in Baku mainly in 2060, a year between two major international events that was held in Baku last summer. It's Baku European Games and the upcoming games, Islamic Solidarity Games, scheduled for 2017, proves that Azerbaijan is a land of joining these two cultures.
Yeah. It's a good example, really, in your case, and showing that this event is in a way like a bridge, a symbolic bridge between these two major events, and bringing two civilizations together. Baku Games from one side, and then next year we'll have an Islamic Solidarity Games, and in between we have UN Alliance of Civilizations. That's a good bridge.
Thank you to join us in the meeting. Thank you for discussion. See you next time.